Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. This is episode 333. I am your host, Sean Hayes, and I'm here to bring you the latest and greatest gaming news of the past week. Big week, Donkey Kong Bonanza released. That'll be a focus of discussion today. Also, Subnautica 2 is like possibly imploding. That's going to definitely be another big topic for today. But I want to follow up a little bit on Daggerheart. That's not necessarily top. That's just going to be part of the opening today. So my D&D group, we had been playing a homebrew system that I had been making up. That's kind of a mishmash of like different D&D settings with some mechanics from other systems thrown in. We decided to try out Daggerheart last night. We had a blast. There were a couple things here and there. I think with specific adversaries that I picked that were a little too punishing. And I think we were trying to essentially run it as like a one shot. So there wasn't necessarily a lot of build up before the final climactic encounter. But I think now that, we decided that we're going to keep doing Daggerheart for the time being. So finally got I was so excited to try it out. Got a chance to try it out. I think it's pretty good. And again, some minor things that were like specific abilities of enemies that I think were a bit overtuned. And even with some just minor tweaks would make them a lot better. So yeah, that was very fun. Very excited to try it out. And it looks like my other D&D group, during the nights that we don't have D&D, we'll be doing a series of like Daggerheart one shots as like a backup plan. So that'll be very exciting. So yeah, I'm very happy to have tried it out. It's a rare opportunity for me to be able to try out new games, and actually get to play them. Because so often, like, they are games that I don't want to run them. I want to play them. And this was a case where like I was like, I don't mind trying out running this as a game master. But I was telling one of my friends last night, like 7th Sea, I don't want to run 7th Sea. I want to play 7th Sea. And unfortunately, that means trying to find a group that will run 7th Sea. And I don't have the time to like put in for like yet another game with like a group of strangers to potentially run 7th Sea. So yeah. So Daggerheart, very fun. Converting our characters over. So I handled that for my players because like they already made characters for the game that we're running, like the campaign that we're doing. So I was just like converting them over to Daggerheart. That was super easy. So I think if for any D&D groups out there that want to give Daggerheart a try, I can guarantee converting your character over would take like 10 minutes. Granted, once you kind of read through the step-by-step process and figure stuff out. Now you might not have as many options for things, but a little trick for D&D folks is that so many of the spells are just redundant with each other that like they don't actually need to be separate spells. It might be a case where they change something slightly as a way to get you to buy more content. And like this is a complaint that my group has had with D&D for years, is like there's not enough spells that are actually like mechanically different from each other. That like they'll print, one spell that's, they'll print fireball. And then they'll like print another spell that like it's fireball, but it deals cold damage and it might like make the floor icy. And that's an entirely different spell. And it's like, okay, so you could have made like one like elemental ball spell, kind of like what they did with Chaos Orb, and like let you pick the element or have it be a random element or something, or you could have, you know, more spells like Control Water that do all sorts of different things to provide a wide variety, you know, a wide assortment of options in that. So yeah. So that's just my own little thing with that. Because there are less options in Daggerheart, but those options feel more meaningful, right? And yeah, it was a lot of fun. We did make some mistakes along the way, but at the end of the day, everything was fine, and we all had a good time, and we're looking forward to doing more of it. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, all right, enough of that. Why don't we get into this week's news? Because we're going to start off with the other thing that I've been doing all this week, which is so much fun. Donkey Kong Bonanza, folks. I picked it up on Thursday on launch day, and I've been playing it. It's so much fun. Like, you can very clearly see that it is, because it's made using the Mario Odyssey engine. It's the same team. It's very clearly like a spiritual successor to Mario Odyssey, while maintaining its own identity. So like, instead of focusing on like technical platforming and like novel idea of like going 2D and doing like the 2D segments that Mario Odyssey did, really focusing on like the destructible environment and like doing a lot of exploration that way. Really leaning into it. And for one thing, that's great. I do like they put a skill tree in the game. So that like, that's a neat way, I think, of unlocking additional moves. I also, however, think that it makes those skills like somewhat mandatory. But yeah, there's something very visceral about like especially when you've upgraded like Donkey Kong's strength a couple times, so that you are just like tearing your way through like rock, stone, dirt, and everything. It has a very like Hulk in the first Avengers movie when they're on the helicarrier feeling, when you're just like, you are just going in a straight line and effortlessly like tearing everything out of your path. It's a bit satisfying when you reach that point. And you're just like full on burrowing. And you know, I love collectathons. You know, I was in middle school when Mario 64 came out. All right, so Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong 64. I was like right in the prime target demographic for those. So, you know, Mario Odyssey, I love Mario Odyssey. Loving this. You know, you've got your, I forget what the technical term is in the game, but you've got your banana gems. You've got your fossils. I just think that's it. Yeah, it's banana gems and fossils. And like, fossils are the currency for the game for getting outfits and upgrades and stuff. And banana gems are replacing stars, moons, shine sprites, whatever have you. But skills are unlocked by collecting banana gems. Um, so naturally, just doing the thing you want to do is how you unlock skill points. So I like that. I like rewarding people for doing the main thing in the game. And then like fossil, I love, I love dinosaurs as a kid and like prehistoric critters. My kids love dinosaurs and other prehistoric critters. So like going around finding fossils and then trading those fossils in for stuff is just really cool. Just from like a flavor standpoint, they could have put anything in there. But the fact that they specifically chose fossils, because you're going deeper and deeper underground, I think is a little cute measure. So in the time that I've played, I have only completed the lagoon layer, which is like pretty much like level 1. I just got to the hilltop layer. And I will say it's kind of on the same vibe as Mario Odyssey, where I'm able to get a big portion of like I'm able to figure out like a big portion of the banana gems myself and like figure out the fossils myself, and then kind of doing cleanup, looking up like checklists and stuff. Whereas there were prior games, or it was like, I don't know where any of this stuff is. I'm gonna have to use a guide to figure everything out. But this is a case where, just number one, destroying everything is time consuming. It can be a little tedious, but like it's also satisfying. And it means you find all sorts of cool hidden stuff, and oftentimes hidden caverns full of banana gems. So, yeah, it definitely rewards that gameplay. Just unlocked the first Bonanza. And so Bonanzas are like special limited use abilities, which basically the first one lets you just smash rocks better. So I have been using that to full effect, to just absolutely go through and clear out large swaths of mountains and hillsides and everything. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I have not encountered any performance issues. I've heard that's been a minor issue. I've been playing docked almost exclusively. I haven't seen any at this point. So far that's great. I'm also not very far into the game. But yeah, it's been a blast. And I haven't done any co-op yet, but I'm looking forward to when my oldest son gets back from camping, of doing co-op with him and see how that goes. And I haven't really unlocked much of the story so far. I will say, I don't necessarily know if I agree with the statement of they changed Donkey Kong's look to make him more expressive. That said, he is super expressive in this game. To the point that like when he's looking at, they put different expressions on his face when he's looking at different things. Like throughout just regular gameplay, not like in cutscenes or whatever. And that's something that like Nintendo has started doing. Like even like that was the point of like the art style they picked for Wind Waker, was so that Link, could have different expressions on his face. But this is just like like when you start running, like his facial expression changes, and then when you stop, like it changes. And when he's looking at like a banana gem, he's got one expression on his face, versus like if he's just looking at something else that is still interesting, he has yet another expression on his face. And it's a really nice little touch. that adds a bit to the immersion of it. As far as the unlockables go, you can unlock different outfits that give you different abilities. I can't remember. I know Mario Odyssey had the different hats and stuff, but I don't recall if they gave you different effects based on it. So like the starting one is like you get increased swim speed and a greater likelihood that treasure chests will show up while you're digging, which like is like, why would you wear anything else? Because treasure chests like give you either buffs, money, or maps to show you where banana gems and fossils are. So like pretty good. So yeah, all in all, I'm having a blast. I'm so glad I picked it up. And looking forward to playing a lot more of it. So next up on our list, so we talked about this last week with the Microsoft layoffs, but Gamesindustry.biz reports that anonymous sources within King, who, if folks recall, I said inexplicably had a whole bunch of staff got laid off. And like they're one of the big money makers that they got from Activision. So like doesn't make any sense. But anonymous sources within the company have said that the staff that were laid off are likely going to be replaced by AI tools that they helped develop. This is like a new dystopian take on like training your replacement. And I hate it. I hate it so much. Like this is literally a case of AI taking people's jobs. Again, so these are from anonymous sources. I don't believe King has made or Microsoft has made a statement in response to it. But I'd believe it, especially since Microsoft is trying to push their OpenAI stuff. So yeah, this is more of a thanks, I hate it kind of a thing. And really not looking forward to if this becomes a trend in the industry of like laying people off to replace them with tools that they built, like that that people make themselves obsolete in the eyes of corporate management. Yeah, I don't like it. I hate it. So as a reminder, unionize, please. And before I get on to much more of a rant, we're just gonna move on because there's not really much more else from that news story to be said. But actually, hang on. Before let me just double check and make sure I didn't miss anything from that news story. So in particular, copywriting. Now, let me explain, because folks that aren't involved in the advertising industry might you hear copywriting and you think like the legal team. Different copywriting. So this is copywriting with a W. So this is literally writing copy, which means that you are coming up with the written content that goes into, in this case, it would be like Candy Crush. So it's a source is alleging that the entire copywriting team has been let go, which means that Candy Crush might just have stuff written by like Chat GPT and whatever tools that they were building. or I guess OpenAI and whatever tools that they were building. Same source also suggests that more people than previously thought have been let go, and that morale is real bad, which shock to no one. When 200 people and 200 or more people have been let go from your company, yeah, morale's going to be real low. You know what's not great for generating revenue? Low morale. Yeah. So, cool. Thanks, Microsoft. Now we're going to move on because before I say anything that might get me in trouble. All right. So, now, longtime listeners of the show will know I'm not a fan of Roblox. And this is so. First off, I do want to commend the fact that they are trying to put in many different safety features for its user base, because its user base is primarily children. But for a long time, Roblox legitimately had and might still have a problem with predators using the platform. So a lot of these safety features came in response to like several exposés that were done that like they were not fond of. But guess what? That's what happens when you don't put user protections in a game that is very much geared towards minors and is online. So first off, want to commend them for doing that. However, the news story today is IGN reports that part of the latest round of security features seems to be contradictory to their goal, which is a tool that includes age estimation technology, all right, that uses AI. It's not generative AI, so it's more of like advanced algorithms and guesswork being done through said algorithm to guess a user's age based on a short video clip of themselves that they submit. I hate this. It used to be that like you would submit a government issued ID. I'm not a fan of that either. But I really hate the thought of, and granted, this is intended for teens. All right, so 13 to 17-year-olds. This is asking 13 to 17-year-olds, which is already still a huge margin, right? It's only a 4-year gap, but that 4 years, well, or 5, if you want to include, if to be 13 to 17 inclusive is like a 5-year span. There is so much that happens in those 5 years that it's wild. But what they're asking is for teens, so minors still, to take a video selfie of themselves, upload it to Roblox. Okay. So for one thing, yeah, uploading video content of themselves to a service. And that it will then get ingested into the processes that this algorithm is using. Okay. So it is also training on these videos in an effort to guess, right? Which might mean it doesn't get it right because it's based on how you look and maybe sound. All right. Which, like, is a detriment, like if you happen to look older or younger. And also, how are they, like, what is the sample for determining that? Like, how do you determine, like, what sample are you using to determine, like, what a 13-year-old looks like versus a 17-year-old? In particular, does it have factors, or rather, does it factor in that can change over time, right? It's noted that, like, if you look back to previous generations, how they look at certain ages is different than how, say, Gen X looks at a certain age, how millennials look at a certain age, how Gen Z will look at a certain age. So is it factoring that in? Is it robust enough? And this, again, I'm arguing in good faith here for this algorithm, which I don't feel good for. Is it factoring that in? Because it could change one generation later. I also not a fan of just the thought of letting an algorithm determine this. Like, so, yeah. Again, Roblox being weird. So, if any of my listeners are parents, just don't let your kids use the platform. Give them other games. There's thousands of other games out there. Like, that you don't have to worry about. So, there we go. That's that. And then finally, boy, oh boy, our last topic of the day is a doozy, folks. So this is, I'm saying that it's Gamesindustry.biz. It's really, there's a bunch. Like, IGN has stuff on it. Game Informer has stuff on it. Jason Schreier has a bunch of stuff that is, Jason Schreier's, like, Bloomberg stuff is quoted, like, in several of the other articles as doing, like, exposés on this. So to give, like, an overview of what happened. So Unknown Worlds, the developer of Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero, in 2021 was bought by Krafton Incorporated, which is a South Korean game publisher company. And theoretically, Unknown Worlds was supposed to retain full creative and operational control in regards to development. Game was supposed to come into early access this year. So Subnautica 2 was supposed to come into early access this year. And it sounds like there was a $250 million bonus for the company, like, for hitting a certain milestone, like a certain revenue milestone, which likely would have happened had Subnautica 2 released into early access. It has been delayed to 2026 for early access. Now, folks who are a fan of Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero know that, like, Unknown Worlds MO was to release it in a, admittedly, a bit rough but playable, like, alpha, and then like, to do the early access thing as it was meant to, which was to release a game, get, like, real-time feedback on it, and also get, like, regular funding throughout the course of the development, and do regular iterations and, like, frequent iterations to get the game to a polished state. Like, that is what the intention of early access is. And like, they were like one of the gold standards for doing it. Krafton fired the founders, so the leadership team of Unknown Worlds, and replaced them with a single CEO that they brought in. And is claiming that the game and basically put their foot down, and after they did that, they delayed the game to 2026. Citing that it's not ready for early access. Like, we have a quality of standard that needs to be met, and this doesn't meet it. Now, whether that's true or not, don't know. There were internal documents that were leaked which seem to support at least their view on it. However, still seems pretty skeevy. And they're claiming that like the leadership team wasn't taking it seriously. And that's why they let them go. Leadership team has filed a suit, basically for their termination, saying that like, these guys did this so that they don't have to pay out the $250 million. Krafton has come back saying, oh, well, we'll still allocate, if they can meet the goal, we'll still allocate a portion of that to like the employees that are left behind. I can tell you right now, seeing what's being said and what has been filed in court, and from the reporting, and like, Jason Schreier, really good job at reporting on this stuff. Really seems like Krafton screwed over Unknown Worlds as punishment for their last game. So their last game was not Subnautica related, and it kind of flopped. But like, punishing them for that, and for their leadership team not playing nice with Krafton's leadership. Seems like Krafton was pushing for them to delay, and Unknown Worlds was saying, no, like, we're not going to delay. We're going to follow our MO of how we do things. Which this is sort of an existential question to corporations out there, is if you acquire a company and that company has a way of doing things, and you have in your purchasing agreement that you are going to let them have complete creative and operational control over how they do things, why would you acquire a company if how they do things is anathema to what you want? Now, granted, I fully believe that Krafton is just being hyperbolic in the state of the game and everything, so that they can cover their own butts over the fact that they're getting caught not paying out. And especially since they put out a statement that basically said like, oops, oh, I guess we should be more transparent from now on after the internal document leaked. So yeah, I can certainly say this whole thing makes me less excited for Subnautica 2. Like, I really enjoyed Subnautica, and I also enjoyed Subnautica Below Zero. And it's also, I don't know what possessed the company to be bought out by a foreign corporation. But it seems to not be going well for the company. And it's a tough case, because like, I want to support Unknown Worlds. I don't want to support Krafton. Like, I don't want Krafton to benefit from their hard work. So yeah. And like, I also don't know what happens, like, if the founders like win the suit, like, because I can't see them getting their jobs back. So I don't know. Maybe they use the money to start up yet another new company, and like everybody at Unknown Worlds just quits and goes to that company. I don't know. So this will be interesting to see. Yeah, I really want to follow this before looking at Subnautica 2, because like I don't know. So yeah, a little bit of a downer to end things on. But once again, well, and unfortunately, doesn't help management because management can't join unions. But this is a case where, I mean, they had contracts in place, and it seems like a pretty yeah, definitely have some nerve with what Krafton's trying to pull. So, all right, that is where we're going to end things for this week. Sorry, it's a little bit of a couple spicy stories this week of getting fired up about labor practices. But thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for listening. If you would like more content from 8-Bit Adventures, be sure to check out 8bitadventures.com. If you would like to help support that content, please consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/8bitadventures. Big shout out and thank you to all my current patrons. And finally, our opening theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. That's going to be it for this week. We will be back next week. All right. So, as always, have fun, happy gaming, and enjoy your pie cake.